Dumbbell lateral step up, maintaining tension. This is one of my all-time favourite functional exercises for lower body. But there's actually, even though it's a simple exercise, there's actually a lot of coaching cues to go with it. Firstly, let's use lifting straps so we can use the most challenging weight possible. Secondly, let's use a solid step like this metal one as opposed to a soft plyometric box, which will make you unstable. Another option is to build a step out of bumper plates. We're going to put the working foot on the box and we're going to find tripod foot. Equal pressure through ball the big toe, ball the little toe and the heel. You're going to drive down through that whole foot to help you move up onto the step. Start with roughly a 90-degree angle at the hip and the knee and make sure that you move back to that same start position. As you control the weight down, we're going to keep most of the weight over the working leg. So try not to shift onto that standing leg. Make sure that foot stays flat and evenly loaded throughout the whole phase of the movement. We're going to pull up tall. We want to make sure the rib cage and pelvis is stacked. So make sure you're not sticking your bum out. Make sure you're not flaring that space open between the rib cage and pelvis at the front of the body. So pull up tall, light tension through the core. The step up is one of the best all-time exercises for glutes. It's just naturally a brilliant glute exercise. We don't need to do anything weird. We don't need to do a forward lean. In fact, we can practice having a more upright torso, which is something we don't get to do in other exercises in the gym. So try to stay as upright as possible, and that's going to challenge your core and your glutes and your hips in the best way possible. Keep the arms and the weight squeezed into the side of the body. Make sure you stand all the way up on that step. So we want to come up to full extension, locked out hip, locked out knee. So we're getting full joint range of motion as well. Finally, the reason I'm showing you it on this side from the back is because on this side, you can see that I'm having to hike my hip a little bit more to achieve the movement. That's because I have slightly less hip internal rotation on my right side. The exercise felt fine, but watching it back, in future, I would probably use a slightly lower step. So I would use a platform that means I don't have to hike my hip to achieve the movement. So that hip hike suggests that I'm working outside of the active range of motion for my hip at the moment. Working outside of your active range of motion continuously over time will stress the joints out over time, and it will reduce the health and the mobility of the joint. If I use a lower step that allows me to keep the hips equal and work within my active range, I'll be able to build strength and muscle and improve the health of the hip.